That's right. Woo! What's going on, everyone? We are back on YouTube. No more live stream. That was fun last week, though. I had a good time with that. What's going on, everyone? My name's the Big AC, Andy Chevalier. You know me on DraftKings at 401 Crew 1 on DraftKings. We're also on YouTube and Facebook, The Fantasy Life with AC. And on Twitter as well, at Trivia with AC. Any questions or comments you have, folks, please make sure you write them in the comments. You can either put them on Twitter, on Facebook, on our YouTube page. You can message me directly, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. As always, Sunday morning, we will be posting any last-minute inactives, who's trending up, who's trending down, who should not be in your lineups. All that great information comes to you early Sunday morning. All right. First and foremost, let's go over last week. Last week was quite the tease. The Core 4 did absolutely fantastic. That being said, it wasn't quite enough. And all the players that we were into were very highly owned players. Kamara, Jamal Williams, Giovanni Bernard, Terry McFly, Kenny Golladay, all did very, very good. But they were also very highly owned. The pay lines were some of the highest I've ever seen them been. So last week was quite the tease. It was very frustrating because I was averaging, I think I did 15 lineups. I do more bigger buy-in lineups, and I do a less amount of bigger buy-in lineups rather than doing a bunch of lower buy-in amounts. And the pay lines were just absolutely crazy. Normally, we'd go right into the targets and my 4 aces. This week, I'm going to show you a lineup of mine that did cash and one that did not cash, just to show you how crazy it really was. Let's go over the lineup that did cash. As you can see, we attacked that Seattle-Arizona game. Essentially, folks, if you did not attack that game, you probably weren't going to cash. And if you did, it was very, very difficult. 192, this is the $33 three-point stance. 7,000 entrants, about 1,700 people cash in this. This lineup was not in the money. 192 was not in the money until one of the last plays of the game with Kyler Murray throwing to Christian Kirk. If that did not happen, I would not have cashed in this lineup. So it was a very, very crazy one. 192 being a min cash is not your normal occurrence. 160, 170, almost always a for sure cash. 192 in some of my contests did not cash. So that was pretty fortunate that one did cash. Very crazy week. This was a lineup that did not cash. Scored 186 again. Normally every week would be one of my highest scores. Fire all across the board. Only miss was DK Metcalf. Essentially, if you switched DK Metcalf for Tyler Lockett, you were going to have a monster week. 186 in this contest. This is the $50 chop block on DraftKings. 800 entrants, 170 people cash. I scored 186, and that did not cash, believe it or not. That is going to cash almost every single week. This week it did not cash. The reason why I'm showing you this, again, you can see we followed our own method. Kamara, Gio, Justin Jackson. Justin Jackson wasn't that great, but that's not why we didn't cash. We attacked that Seattle-Arizona game. Harrison Bryant, who I updated the morning of, saying he's going to be the starter of Njoku. Turned out to be a fantastic switch. Washington football team, every defense in every single one of my lineups. Fantastic. Like we said, Dallas can't do anything. The reason why I'm showing you these lineups is because it's not always going to be, if you score a lot, it's always going to mean you're going to cash. If the most popular plays also quick, aka the chalk, if the most popular players across the board do well, the pay line is going to go up. So that's why some weeks you see 155 cashes, 160 cashes, sometimes even lower than that cashes. On the other end, every once in a while, 190 does not cash. So the reason why I'm telling you this is I don't want you to be discouraged. I was very discouraged. I woke up Monday morning pretty disappointed saying, wow, I did 15 lineups. 12 of them scored at 170 or more. And I only cashed in a couple of them. It was very discouraging. But sometimes that happens, and you have to trust your process. You got to continue with the formula. Matchup, opportunity, price. Keep going at it. You can't let a week like that really discourage you. So, moving on, enough with the negative. let's focus on the positive. Let's focus on week 8. First and foremost, like we do each and every week, we're going to focus on our target leaders. Targets equal opportunities. Opportunities equal points. So let's see who is leading the NFL in targets right now. No surprise, DeAndre Hopkins, Nuke on top there with 73. Amari Cooper on one of the worst defenses in football right now, still on top there with 72 targets. Not touchdown reliant. The quarterback position is dreadful, but again, still up there in targets. Stephon Diggs, Allen Robinson a little banged up there, but again, he still is high in the target list. Terry McFly is on a bye this week, but nice seeing that he's still getting the targets regardless of the lack of quarterback play. Calvin Ridley, he got hurt last night, but again, he's still up there on the target list. Slayer, Keenan Allen, always going to be on our radar. He's up there on the list with Tyler Boyd and Robbie Anderson, two guys we've been targeting all season long. Robbie Anderson had a disappointing game last week, but he is clearly the team's best receiver. Of course, Tyler Boyd, he just gets it done each and every week, and now he's starting to get those red zone looks, which is fantastic. Tyler Lockett, I mean, the guy caught like 14 passes last week, so of course he's going to be on this list. AJ Green on this list. Interesting seeing that he's continuously getting targets, always on this list. I mean, the Bengals do throw the most than any other football team in the league, so I guess it shouldn't be too much of a surprise. Travis Kelce, top tight end on the list, Mr. Consistent there. He's tied with Waller with targets right now, both with 56. These two guys are just becoming very, very consistent. Kelce does have a lot of touchdowns this year. He has 5 right now, which is quite a lot for him. Usually he's more of a receptions guy. Does have 40 receptions, also is a lot, but he is just having a great season. Fantastic matchup this week. CeeDee Lamb, again, one of the worst defenses in football. He's got 56 targets. His productivity has definitely been dropping, though. Kamara leads all running backs with targets of 53, 55, and then underneath that, DJ Moore also with 55 across Carolina. Again, a very bad defense. Not shocking to see that there's 2 Carolina Panthers up there in the target leaders. So, there's certain guys we like this week, and there are guys that match up based on the target leader, so we're going to focus on that. Let's start off with my 4 aces, though. So traditionally, I go with a quarterback, a running back, a receiver, and a tight end. Last week on the live stream, we did not do that. We didn't include a quarterback. This week, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do something a little more untraditional. So that being said, let's go right into it. Top name on the list I have this week is Derrick Henry for $8,000 in an absolute smash spot against Cincinnati. Derrick Henry's just destroying everyone. He even scored against Pittsburgh last week. I don't know if you saw. The Pittsburgh safety ran up, made a huge play on the goal line on a 1st and goal against Derrick Henry. Injured himself in the process of hurting Derrick Henry. They held on 3rd down. Derrick Henry got a fresh new set of downs and scored. Anyways, the guy is so strong that he's hurting defenders when he runs into him, is my point being. The guy's a monster. He needs to be in your lineups. Absolute smash spots against Cincy. Fully expecting 102 touches from Derrick Henry. And he is occasionally catching passes too, which is great. Next on my list, again, a guy who just came off a monster game. I hate choosing guys that just came off their monster games, but this is such a fantastic matchup. Aaron Rodgers at home with Devonta Adams against Minnesota. He destroyed them week 1. MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, didn't catch a pass last week. If he did, I think he caught 1 pass for 5 yards or something. Adams is the guy. If Aaron Jones does not play, Adams the guy times 1,000. Fully expecting him to have another monster game. He's just starting to creep up on getting that Michael Thomas price range of what Michael Thomas was getting last year. So I think you just plug in Henry and Adams and figure out the rest of your lineups. These guys seem like an absolute 2 smash spots this week. So if we're going to spend some serious money on these 2 guys, we're going to have to save money somewhere else. And we're going to start off with tight end here. I got Harrison Bryant versus the Raiders, $3,200. Austin Hooper not playing. Well, technically he's doubtful. But if you get your appendix taken out, newsflash, you're not playing football for a couple of weeks. So yeah, he's not playing this week. Njoku clearly is not the number 1 tight end behind Hooper. It looks like it's Harrison Bryant, and he had an absolute fantastic game as we kind of expected last week. $3,200 for a starting tight end that's getting used a lot in the red zone, in the middle of the field. I am liking Harrison Bryant a lot for that price tag. And next on this list, I don't think we've ever had a defense on this list, but I got Kansas City Chiefs versus the New York Jets. This just feels like a no-brainer decision. And you're paying a lot. Trust me, this is coming from the guy who gives you advice every single week and says, pay as little as you can for defense. I don't think you can do it this week. I think the Jets are so horrendous. No Perriman, no Crowder, it certainly appears. I think Kansas City's going to run the ball a lot. I think Lev Bell is going to have a big game this week, a revenge game against the Jets. Kansas City is just getting better and better defensively. This game could get ugly. The Chiefs are 20-point favorites in this game. Just to put that in perspective. The Chiefs are going to dismantle the New York Jets. It's going to get ugly. I at this point, I don't even know what to expect from the Chiefs. They're certainly going to hold the Jets under 10 points. They're certainly going to get some sacks. Pick six opportunity, potentially up high. Special teams with Tyreek returning punts, things like that. Mecole Hardman doing the kick returns. I just think this is a no-brainer. And I think if you're going to... I want to give you the best advice on the guarantees. These four guys, in my eyes, are the closest thing to a guarantee this week. So again, you take all four of these guys, we get a total combined salary of $24,500. That leaves you roughly $5,000 of remaining salary to fill in those other five spots. So again, I think you're in a very good position here to set yourself up for success. So we talked about a running back, receiver, tight end, and defenses that we like. We didn't talk about a quarterback that we like this week. So let's go over my three favorite quarterbacks that I like this week. These are quarterbacks that I'm going to be stacking. Stacking is essentially using a quarterback with either at least one receiver, one tight end, one running back, using multiple components from the same team. I actually do recommend using more than one component, but a stack technically is a quarterback with at least one other pairing. Top of this list, Aaron Rodgers should be no surprise because we love Devonta Adams. Big boy price of $7,600. Minnesota is hiring guys off the street to play defense. Love Aaron Rodgers this week. At home, he's always just better at home. This is an absolute smash spot for Aaron Rodgers. Again, if Aaron Jones does not play, it looks like he might not play again. If he does, he's going to be limited. This looks like a monster spot for Aaron Rodgers. Next on this list, Ryan Tannehill. We're totally attacking this Tennessee-Cincy game. Both teams are very, very awful defensively. I think going Tannehill with a guy like A.J. Brown and Jonnu Smith makes sense. If you want to fade Derrick Henry, you don't have to fade Derrick Henry. If you want to use Tannehill, I'm cool with using both. I think it makes sense. They throw enough to Derrick Henry to kind of justify it. I think it absolutely makes sense to use both. Tannehill gets some rushing on his own. I know that sounds counterintuitive against Derrick Henry, but again, I think you can use both. I think your floor is significantly high, and I think given this game script and how I see this game playing out, I think your ceiling's very high too. So you want to go Tannehill, Henry, A.J. Brown, Tannehill, Derrick Henry, Jonnu Smith. I think it absolutely makes sense to me. Underneath that, I got Joe Burrow, the other side of the ball in this Tennessee Bengals game. Again, he leads the NFL in pass attempts, one of the worst defenses in football right now. They're just slinging the rock. Joe Mixon not going to play, which means he's only going to throw more. Gio Bernard is more of a pass-catching back than a straight rusher. So Joe Burrow, again, in an absolute smash spot right here. The least expensive guy on this list right here. So I kind of give him the nod a little bit more over Tannehill. Again, if you want to go Joe Burrow, Derrick Henry, Tyler Boyd, that to me makes sense. Maybe throw in Jonnu in your flex along with Harrison Bryant. I think that lineup absolutely makes sense. This is going to be a game you want to attack. It's going to be a very popular game that gets attacked, trust me. But I think this seems like an absolute no-brainer, one of the more guarantees I see on the slate this week. After that, let's talk about some running backs we like. There's 5 other running backs that I like in addition to Derrick Henry. Kamara, always going to be on this list. Telling you to fade Kamara would just not be good advice. Michael Thomas might not play a game. Again, that guy has been just an absolute disaster this year. So Kamara does not play against Chicago. Not the best matchup, but again, Kamara being the only offensive option there. Potentially no Mike Thomas, no Emmanuel Sanders. Seems like a smash spot. Dalvin Cook, I think this absolutely makes sense to run it back against your Aaron Rodgers, Devonta Adams stacks. Dalvin Cook does everything. Runs the ball, catches the ball. He is the best part of that offense. Green Bay's biggest weakness is defending the run. I think this absolutely makes sense. He's had 2 full weeks to prepare for this matchup. It's a big one for Minnesota and Green Bay. So I fully expect him, assuming that he plays, and it looks like he is trending towards playing. Alexander Mattison, not really a guy when he's just the only one there. Dalvin Cook, someone we should be in line for an absolute smash spot. Next on this list, is this the guy that is, either do it for me this week or you're done? Maybe. Kareem Hunt, $6,900. This is his 4th week now without Chubb. He had a couple of tough matches right away, but he had Cincy last week, and if he didn't fall in the end zone, he would have had another disappointing game. Given the standards we've given for Kareem Hunt without Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt has been quite a disappointment. Who would have thought that Nick Chubb going out means Kareem Hunt has a lower points per game with Chubb out? Again, I do acknowledge he's had 2 tough matchups, but he had one of the best matchups you can get in Cincinnati last week, and he didn't get it done. It was done in the air. So Kareem Hunt against the Raiders. Raiders, one of their biggest weaknesses is defending the rush. Cleveland's biggest strength is their offensive line. So again, I feel like I keep on saying this, Kareem Hunt in a smash spot this week. He's on the radar, but man, if he doesn't get it done this week, man, he might be out of the club. He just might be out of the club. Next on this list, Jamal Williams, $6,100. Again, if Aaron Jones does not play, Jamal Williams feels like an absolute smash spot. Yes, you can go Aaron Rodgers, Jamal Williams, and Devonta Adams. To me, that does make sense. Certainly worked last week. Giovanni Bernard, $5,800 against Tennessee. He is the pass-catching back. I think using Tannehill with Gio absolutely makes sense given how that team goes. In fact, you want to go Tannehill, Derrick Henry, Giovanni Bernard, Tyler Boyd, A.J. Brown, Devonta Adams, and then fill in the holes. I think that makes sense. You're going to probably have to pay down defense if that is the case and not use the Chiefs. But to me, that is a smart lineup right over there. So running backs, those are the guys we like this week. Let's talk about receivers, who we like this week. That is my running backs. Here's the receivers we like this week. Again, there's only 8 other receivers I like. We talked about this guy already. A.J. Brown, $6,900. All these under $7,000 in price tag. We're going to need to save some money if we use Devonta Adams. $6,900. Again, since he's just so bad defensively, totally makes sense to go with our Tannehill stack. Underneath that, Tyreek Hill still not getting that big boy price. $6,700 against the Jets. Maybe the best matchup in football for a guy of Tyreek Hill's skill sets. We haven't seen that monster game yet from Tyreek Hill. Is this the week? My only concern is, will the Jets hold in their end of the bargain? Will they score points? Probably not. But Tyreek Hill, again, they're going to have to score points. Tyreek Hill, I fully expect to at least get a couple of deep balls thrown his way. He just has potential to have that 3 monster touchdown game. So tournament-wise, he makes sense to me. Tyler Boyd, man, probably my favorite receiver after Devonta Adams this week. $6,600. The guy gets it done. Leading receiver in targets for his team. Leads his wide receivers in all snaps played. The guy is the most heavily used guy in third down. He's starting to get those red zone looks as well. Can't say enough nice things about Tyler Boyd. He is the most consistent part of this offense. Underneath that, Jefferson to play across from your Aaron Rodgers stack, $6,500. If you notice, I did not have Wonder Bread down here. I did not have Adam Thielen. I think his price tag's a little too high. Again, if we're going to use Devonta Adams, we're going to need to save some money. So Justin Jefferson, $6,500 makes sense as a counter across from Aaron Rodgers and Devonta Adams. Other receivers that I am liking this week, up in the top there, Keenan Allen, Slayer, $6,200. Not a fantastic matchup against Denver, but he clearly is the option A, B, and C in the passing game. If you watch these games, he seems to be the look every single time. It's nuts. It's just, he's a first down guy. He's the touchdown guy. He's the offense. Him and Herbert got something amazing going on there. So $6,200. Always underappreciated, Keenan Allen. Next on this list, Brandon Ayuk. Man, so here was a guy, he might have been the first guy that I looked to see his price tag this week. And I was hoping, again, the matchup is just fantastic. His opportunity couldn't be better with Debo going out. He fits every single skill set that Debo has. You look at his price, I'm hoping for that $4,500, $4,600, $5,800. Quite the disappointment price tag. That being said, DraftKings might just be on to something. They might be telling us, hey, this guy's in line for a monster game against Seattle. Seattle gives it up to see every single receiver. He is going to be the number one receiver, wide receiver on his team. Kittle clearly is the best offensive option. Ayuk will be the best wide receiver on his team this week. The price tag is a lot. He's going to be hard to fit in my lineups, but I at least will have some exposure to Ayuk given the matchup, the opportunity. The price, though, not exactly what I'm looking for. Underneath that, T. Higgins, $5,600. The guy is not getting the snaps that I'd like to see. A.J. Green has more snaps than him and more targets. But the opportunities Higgins gets, he's turning it into points. Both receptions, yardage, touchdowns, the guy's getting it done. So Higgins always has to be in play. If you want to go Burrow, Higgins, and Boyd, that makes sense to me. You want to go Boyd, A.J. Green with Burrow, that makes sense. But again, Higgins with this $5,600 price tag, I like it a lot. I like what I'm seeing. The guy is growing every single week. And next on this list has been a guy who's not been on my radar really at all this season, but given the opportunity he will have with Odell Beckham Jr. going down, Jarvis Landry has to be in consideration. He is a low ceiling but a high floor player, meaning he will be very consistent, but he doesn't have a lot of touchdown upside. $5,600 with OBJ going down against the Raiders. Certainly like the opportunities and targets he's going to get. That we care more about yardage and targets than we do touchdowns. That being said, in tournaments, not a big fan of Landry. Cash games, you can't deny the amount of work he should and will get. So Landry, of course, making my list this week with OBJ going down. Next on this list, if you don't use Harrison Bryant, these are other tight ends I recommend using. It's going to be really hard to fit these two guys up top here, but man, they absolutely stood out to me hardcore. George Kittle, the best offensive option on that San Francisco team by far, goes without saying against Seattle. Great matchup. Their linebacking core is very good in Seattle, but again, they force Kittle the ball. He's always getting the rock. So with Jimmy G kind of settling in and getting more and more comfortable, I expect Kittle to just absolutely feast against Seattle. He will be very, very low 0-2 given his price tag this week. So watch Kittle to kind of leap off the board slate-wise. Darren Waller, $5,600 against Cleveland. Again, we're using a lot of Cleveland pieces. If you want to run it back with the Raiders, using Darren Waller makes sense. The price tag is high, $5,600. You want to put him as your tight end with Bryant as your flex. I think that makes sense to me. But again, if you want to attack that Cleveland game, Waller has to be a guy that's on your radar. Tied for Kelsey in targets as well. So he, of course, leaps off the page for me in a fantastic matchup. Jonnu Smith, again, he seemed, if I did not use Harrison Bryant, Jonnu Smith would be 100% of my lineups. Love this matchup this week against Cincinnati. Cincinnati just made Harrison Bryant look fantastic. The only problem with the Tennessee Titans is they love throwing to all of their tight ends. And Jonnu Smith, particularly in the red zone, kind of doesn't get the looks that we all hope for. That being said, he was leading the NFL in touchdowns scored, given how often they do throw it to the tight end for that position. Love Jonnu this week, $4,100. Seems to kind of go under the radar this week, too. So I like Jonnu Smith a lot. These are the three other tight ends I would use over Harrison Bryant if I had to. Last, I'm a discount shopper. I don't know if you are, too. So let's hit up the bargain bin, folks. These are all players that I'm using that are under 5K. These are going to be updated Sunday morning as we get more inactives. But let's go over the bargain bin. Let's cut out those coupons. Top of the list, we got Henry Ruggs the third versus Cleveland. Again, we keep talking about this game. $4,900. I think this is the team's best receiver. Henry Ruggs, loving the matchup for $4,900. Underneath that, we talked a little bit about it earlier. Le'Veon Bell versus the Jets. Revenge game, $4,600. Darrell Williams essentially out of the lineup. He only got one snap last week. So it's, CEH, it's Le'Veon Bell. if you were the Kansas City Chiefs and you wanted to display Le'Veon Bell, would this not be the game to do it? The game where you're 20-point favorites makes sense to me. $4,600 won't take a lot for him to get a return on value. J.K. Dobbins against Pittsburgh. Mark Ingram looks like he is not playing. Love the opportunity. Love the price. Couldn't be a worse matchup. Pittsburgh. That is a difficult matchup to say the least. $4,600 though for a starting running back in an offense as good as the Ravens. Something you can't ignore. Has to be on your radar. Rashard Hollywood Higgins, $4,200 against the Raiders. We talked about why we like Landry. Same reason why we like Rashard Higgins. I think Higgins has a higher ceiling too. So again, if you really want to attack this game, Higgins, going Higgins with Kareem Hunt makes sense to me. If you want to go Landry Higgins, that also makes sense as well. Underneath that, DJ Dallas. Carlos Hyde does not play. DJ Dallas versus San Fran might just be a lock button. The matchup is very tough, but the opportunity and price for a starting running back for $4,000 on a team as amazing as the Seattle Seahawks offense is, yeah, $4,000 seems like a lock, but again, you have to pay attention to what Carlos Hyde's injury status is. Honestly, if Hyde plays, DJ Dallas still might be in play. Underneath that is a guy who, for the longest time, was getting very underappreciated. A lot of people would call him Donovan Jones. He's not Donovan Jones. He's Donovan the Peoples Jones. $3,800 against the Raiders. He caught that game winner last week against Cincy. I fully expect Peoples Jones, the Peoples Jones, to take a big step forward in the offense going forward. $3,800. Love the price tag. Love the matchup. Next, we have Damiere Byrd. Not a fan of the player, but no Edelman anymore. This guy just might be the team's best receiver. $3,700. Tough matchup against the Bills, but again, looks to be the only guy there that's being somewhat consistent, question mark. Even saying that didn't sound that great. But yeah, Damiere Byrd, $3,700. Someone's going to catch balls for the New England Patriots. It looks like it's going to be Damiere Byrd. Gerald Edwards on this list versus Miami. This comes with a caveat. Tyler Higbee cannot play for you to have Everett in your player pool. When the Rams do not have either Higbee or Everett on the field, the other guy benefits tenfold. So again, if Higbee does not play, Everett is in a smash spot there. So love his price tag against Miami for $37. Kendrick Bourne, same reasons why we like Ayuk, same reasons why we like Kendrick Bourne. Easy for me to say. The price is phenomenally better. The talent is also a lot worse. So that is why he is not in a smash spot for me. I think the talent is just not there compared to Ayuk. But that being said, the price tag is more important. The matchup and opportunity is more important than necessarily the talent when it comes to daily fantasy. So Kendrick Bourne definitely should be on your radar for $36. Braxton Berrios also on my list right here at $3,500. Looks like no Crowder. Looks like no Brashard Perriman this week for the Jets, if it couldn't get any better for the Kansas City Chiefs. So someone has to catch balls for the Jets, right? I mean, it's at least encouraged. So Braxton Berrios, $3,500. Should get a lot of targets. Got 11 targets last week. Darnell Mooney, if Allen Robinson does not play, looks like he still is going through concussion protocol. If Allen Robinson does not play, Darnell Mooney in a fantastic spot against the Saints for $3,500. He seems to be the downfield threat guy for Nick Foles right now. So again, coming off not so great of a game, Darnell Mooney versus the Saints. Love the matchup, love the opportunity and the price if Allen Robinson does not play. And last on this list is Marquez Callaway versus Chicago. Again, this comes with a caveat. Michael Thomas cannot play for Marquez Callaway to kind of be on the radar right now. $3,400. Traquan Smith is not the team's backup receiver with Manny Sanders and Michael Thomas out. I believe it's Marquez Callaway, and we saw it last week. We saw it with the targets. We saw the opportunity. Marquez Callaway leaped off the board. His first half stats were just tremendous. So again, folks, my four aces: Derrick Henry, Devonta Adams, Harrison Bryant, Kansas City Chiefs, total salary of $24,500. What's your favorite quarterback wide receiver stack? Is there one that I didn't mention that you particularly like? Are you into Jimmy G this week? What about Justin Herbert? Is there someone that I mentioned that I did not mention that you do? Write it in the comments below. Write it on Twitter, on Facebook, YouTube. What's your favorite quarterback wide receiver stack? Could be quarterback, tight end, quarterback, running back. You let me know. I would love to see what you have to say. Guys and gals, awesome show this week. Thank you everyone who watched the live stream last week. It was a lot of fun. I do like the pre-recorded shows a little bit, but yeah, we'll get back to battle this week. Last week was just a blip in the radar. We're gonna get back hardcore. Until then, folks, my name's AC. We'll see you out there on the Fantasy Gridiron Sunday morning. I will update all those actives and inactives. So good luck, folks. Leave any questions you want in the comments, and I'll answer them as soon as possible. Good luck out there on the Fantasy Gridiron. Take care, y'all. Have a good one. Peace.